5 is Nick.
We're live.
Who's 4?
We're all there.
4 is Drew.
We are wasting video time.
Is it on?
Yep.
Okay.
Are we good?
We're good.
Okay. What do we do in life? What will we do in life? Will we create? Will we innovate? Will we renovate? Will we replicate? Or will we destroy? Will we follow others? Will we hide behind others? Will we live a life to please to others? The book The Fountainhead introduces the reader to a new outlook and philosophy on life called objectivism. The Fountainhead does this by pitting individualism against collectivism, but it does this by characterizing everyone into 2 groups of people. On one hand, you have the creator, and on the second hand, you have the second-hander, or what we'll call the parasite. The book praises the character who is willing to do what he feels is right, or she feels is right for the country. The book creates objectivism by using these 2 characters, and it introduces that objectivism is how humans achieve happiness. Either way, both these characters are very real in our society today, and we don't even know it. While reading the book, it opened my eyes to this society and how different types of people infect it. The book is a story about a young architect who creates based on his own will. He doesn't have any outside influences, and he only uses what he feels is right. In his battles against the parasite, you learn that what a parasite truly is and how we have them in our society today. The parasite tries to please everyone. The parasite acts like they're selfless just to be loved and admired for it. They don't care about the people they help. They only care about being admired and loved for it. Selfless people are very conformist. They love to bring down the creators because they're afraid of moving on. They all like to be collective. The book teaches you how to not be a parasite and teaches you what a creator really is. The reason why I love this book was because of how it portrayed the perfect man or woman. The perfect man or woman isn't the person who tries and help everyone that they can. The perfect man or woman does what they feel is right for the country or the society. The perfect man or woman is willing to create what they feel is needed without any outside influences. They don't utilize anyone else's thoughts, ideas, or opinions. They only use what's truly in their heart. The perfect man or woman has an own purpose. They use reason as their only tool. Where this reason is used to motivate said character to create or renovate or anything that they choose. That leads me to my final point, is objectivism. In the book, the philosophy of objectivism is all about how humans find happiness. And the only way humans find happiness as objectivism is by doing what you feel is right, or what you feel called to do. If you feel called to be a firefighter, and be a firefighter. If you feel called to be a nurse, be a nurse. If you feel called to be an artist, be an artist. You're only going to find true happiness by doing what you really want to do. Reading the book helps the reader discover what he or she really is. Helps the reader discover what he or she wants to be with life. Are you a collectivist? Are you a parasite? Are you a second-hander? Are you a creator? Second-hander tries to please everyone, but they really bring down our society because they don't help us improve and move upon it. The creator helps us move along because through their selfless acts, they help us create things based on what they feel is right for the society. Objectivism is finding happiness in what you truly think is right. If you feel called to do something, then that's the only way you're going to find happiness, but not by doing what others think you should do. Happy Fountainhead introduces the reader to a new outlook on themselves. While reading The Fountainhead, I learned something that I didn't know before about myself. So I ask you, my fellow classmates, what do you know about yourselves? Are you going to create the wheel, or are you going to use it?
Over the summer, nearly all of us will witness the end of the Batman saga when we watch The Dark Knight Rises. The 3 movies in the Dark Knight trilogy, we learned important moral and ethical lessons while seeing a new point on current political events. Director Christopher Nolan teaches us this through the lessons of fear, chaos, and corruption. He wants us to redefine and rethink what these words really mean. The first one, fear, is a subtext throughout all 3 movies, although it's most apparent in the first Batman. We open Batman Begins, the entire trilogy, as Bruce Wayne is running around a mansion and he falls into a well. In the well, he's attacked by all these bats. It's the first time we see bats, man, Batman. And then fear itself. Batman is a creation of fear. As the movie progresses, we see Bruce Wayne watch his parents die. And his father's last words to Bruce are, Bruce, don't be afraid. So, as Bruce gets older, he wants to know what is the cause of this injustice? Why were his parents killed? And why are criminals like this? So he's told, you fear what you don't understand. And he saw this is true. He's a billionaire. He doesn't understand Gotham's underworld. So Bruce Wayne goes out to travel the world to better understand criminal mind. And he finds himself in Asia at Ra's al Ghul and the League of Shadows. And at the end of his training, he's told, to manipulate the fear in others, you must first conquer your own. His fear of bats. So he's given an hallucinogen. You see these bats, and he uses this fear, but this time he's manipulating it. He's going to use it against criminals. We know this because when Bruce goes back to Gotham, he tells Alfred, his butler, that, hey, I'm going to stop this injustice and the corruption of Gotham City. Alfred goes, why bats? To which Bruce replies, I fear bats. This time my enemies share my dread. So we see here that fear isn't the emotion that we traditionally think of being a negative connotation, but in fact, fear here is used as a tool. Batman is a symbol, and he plans on putting fear into the heart of criminals so they would stop committing crime. Fear coupled with chaos is another lesson that we learned in the Batman trilogy, and this is in The Dark Knight. The Joker himself calls himself an agent of chaos, and he does this, and we can see this through four main examples. One of the examples I remember is the $100 million of cash right behind the Joker, and he's asked, what are you going to do with the $100 million? Joker says, I'm a man of simple tastes. I enjoy gunpowder, dynamite, gasoline. He throws on the whole $100 million on fire. He's not a traditional criminal. He's interested in anarchy, chaos. Another way he establishes chaos, when we see him pit the people against Batman, and he does this by killing all these people and saying, Batman shows himself, I will stop all the killings. So the people want to go, let's turn Batman in. Some people are saying, well, Batman's been our hero, let's not turn him in. His third way he establishes chaos in Gotham is by putting people against each other. And we know this when he goes on television. He says, if Coleman Reese isn't dead in 60 minutes, I blow up a hospital. So the people say, well, I have loved ones in the hospital, let's kill Coleman Reese. Other people say, he's a human being, we've got to protect him. And so a chaos occurs, and there's a riot in Gotham City. Joker's plan is working. And the fourth and the final way he establishes chaos is through when he corrupts Harvey Dent, who people saw as Gotham's white light, and he brought him down to the Joker's level, as he says. Harvey Dent was a good guy. He was the district attorney. Joker killed his girlfriend, drove him mad, and injured his face. He eventually went on a tear of chaos. Fear and chaos are the first two lessons, but the third movie differs, and it's slightly politically motivated in its lesson. That's corruption. Bane uses corruption in the argument in saying that there's the 1%, the billionaires in Gotham, and then there's everyone else, the 99% of us who are struggling and poor. We actually see this as an allusion to current day events, like the Occupy Wall Street movement, which you also see in the movie for the hobos, the picketing, all that stuff. So he says, here, let's flip the society over because it's a corrupt system with the rich and everyone else is dying. So he uses the argument of corruption. In fact, he only creates more corruption because the people are uncivilized and jockeying for the top. It's corruption throughout Gotham. Another way he establishes corruption is by making a corrupt judicial system, where he puts terrorists essentially at the head of the judicial system and saying, some people will live, others will die. So it's not very fair. We learn a lot of lessons here in the Batman trilogy, whether it's through fear, and that fear can be used for good, like fearing that you're going to do poorly on a test, so you study harder. Or chaos, and that certain people can create chaos. The mob gave the Joker power, chaos. Germany gave Hitler power, chaos. And then corruption, to always be mindful of what's happening around us, whether it's for politics or just here in general life. We just always have to be knowing about what is occurring. I ask that you no longer see Hollywood just as a means of entertainment, but understand that there are lessons to be learned here from movies, and we can all learn from them, just as I did through the Dark Knight trilogy.
You had that down last night.
Ethan, when you're ready.
It is a generally understood fact that politics are important to American lives. The decisions of politicians impact almost every aspect of our daily lives. Now the problem is that the maze of bureaucracy there is today is almost impossible to navigate independently. The Daily Show with Jon Stewart is an invaluable resource in that it provides an avenue for the casual observer, such as this class, to integrate politics into their daily lives, while also giving the veteran news audience a break from the monotonous 24-hour news cycle found on Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, etc. Substituting punchlines for headlines, The Daily Show is truly for an audience that wishes to enjoy themselves. And even though it's been serving up jokes for the 10+ years it's been on air, it comes well reviewed and certainly vindicated. Now, put together these jokes with substance on a show that's shown 5 days a week and only 30 minutes long, and you have not only a winner on paper, but also with the American population. Now, if there's anything that a longtime fan of The Daily Show can tell you, is that the show and the reporting is after only one thing, and that's the truth. Now, the reason it's so appealing is that they find this truth through sarcasm, wit, and crass. By refraining from objectivity in the reporting and approaching subjects for what they really are, they manage to find a third view that is never found in other newscasts. The Daily Show revolves around the idea that even though there may be two sides to a subject, they don't really need to be on an even playing field. To give you an example of this, I'll refer back to the Republican National Convention, where there were many interesting speeches given, the most interesting of which, especially from a comedic standpoint, was where Clint Eastwood decided to talk to a chair for 15 minutes. Now, the chair represented Barack Obama, and your typical news station would have noted what was said in the speech, the significance of a celebrity like Clint Eastwood making an appearance at the convention, and maybe even noted the rhetorical effect that the chair, the empty chair, had in representing Barack Obama. Now, The Daily Show takes it a bit farther. What Jon Stewart did when he reported on Clint Eastwood's speech was he played a part of the speech for his audience where Clint Eastwood fumbled with his words with lots of ums and likes, and he was doing this while he was talking to an empty chair in front of a national audience. And then Stewart pauses it when he looks really bad and goes, "I wonder what the Republicans were thinking to allow an old man to yell at a chair for 15 minutes on what was not only the most important night of Mitt Romney's life, but the campaign up to that point." Now, it's funnier when he does it than I'm explaining it, but you get the point. Now, the reason the Daily Show can do things like this is because they differ from the typical news station in that they're not bound to report what is seen as the day's most important news. Their only unbreakable ties are to exposing hypocrisy, telling the truth, and to their audience. Now, those who use this fact to try to debunk The Daily Show as simply a 30-minute comedy slot are anything but informed. The Daily Show has won Peabody Awards in 2001 and 2005 for their coverage of the presidential elections in the years preceding, and they're well on track for 1 in 13 for this presidential election. They also won the TCA, the Television Critic Association's Award for Outstanding Achievement in News and Information in 2003 and 2005. And this is given once a year and seen as the biggest award that a news station or a magazine can win. With guests such as Pink, the artist, and Kofi Annan, former UN Secretary General, making appearances on the show this week, and 3 of the 5 living presidents that we have today having already been on the show as interviewees, The Daily Show comes well credentialed. Now, the fact that you can get all this substance incredibly conveniently is what really makes The Daily Show great. It's only 30 minutes long, and it's a great way to take a break from your day as well as become informed. Graciously declining a primetime spot, The Daily Show is shown late at night because it understands its audience is busy during prime time, watching other shows, on the commute home, or out for dinner. Now, shown 5 days a week, it's an easy habit to pick up the 2.5 million regular viewers like myself are trying to drop. Choose it as your last laugh before you go to bed, or record it and watch it later like I do. It's a way to laugh and learn without monopolizing your time. Now, in all, I just wish to convince you that The Daily Show has value, not only to the TV, but also to its audience. It is a renowned show that doesn't lie, but uniquely searches for the humor within the truths of situations. It is short, shown late at night, and easy to watch, and it won't ruin your schedule. And it melds political reporting with humor in a way that not only entertains, but also informs. So if I haven't convinced you to start watching The Daily Show, I hope you can appreciate it, because for all the casual viewers out there, it provides a way to get a taste of what's happening in the political world. And for all the curious viewers, it can give you topics that you can research farther. And then for all the viewers who can't take a joke or fail to see the shades of gray, well, you get to be on the show so the rest of us can laugh at you. Thank you.